Hi, I'm Roberto Martinez and you're watching Toffee TV.
I'm Peter McPartland, this is Barry Cass and this is Toffee TV, and we are back to discuss Everton's disappointing 2-2 draw with Arsenal. It was in the bag, the 3 points were there, we were taking them home, happy days. 83 minutes, everything changed.
Was it disappointing?
Very disappointing.
I think we both went for draws beforehand, didn't we?
I think we both
Actually,
did.
no, I'm lying there because I didn't.
I did.
On my predictor, I went for an Everton win. And I was very, very confident. And it didn't play out like that, obviously.
Why didn't it play out like that, though? Come on, what's going on? Because we've been saying for weeks, some people criticised us, some people agreed with us. We didn't think the pre-season was what we would have expected. We're not Premier League managers, but just from the outside, we thought this is not 100% right. These players don't look 100% fit, and later on in the game, it certainly looked like that for some of the Everton players.
Yeah, when we're talking about 100% fit, they're obviously fit lads, aren't they? But it's in the game when you watch those pre-season games, we weren't up to speed, and it looks as though it's carried on. You know, no Seamus Coleman's come out and said the players are fit. You know, he doesn't see it like that. But for fans watching it, it certainly looked as though someone had let the air out the balloon in them last 10 minutes. Everything just seemed to, everyone's energy level seemed to just ooze away to nothing. And we spent a large chunk of that final 10 minutes camped in our own half, didn't we? And which was so kind of polar opposite to how the game had been up until that point. Got off to a great start. Didn't start the game particularly well, but just allowed Arsenal to have the ball and scored. Can we say we scored from a set piece?
Well, let's get into it from the start. Everton bring Morales in for McGeady. Some people might think that was unlucky, but I think just the way Roberto Martinez was approaching the game plan, he approached it very similar to last season's 3-0 win over them. He wanted to play on the break. He didn't mind Arsenal having the ball and soaking it up and then going on the break. So obviously fast plays on the break on either side made a massive difference. Lukaku was playing a little bit more on the right like he did last season. Morales a little bit more on the left. You've got Steven Naismith playing down the middle, being a tormentor, getting involved, mixing it up a little bit, just winning back a lot of the possession. As you just mentioned, first 15 minutes weren't quite at the races. Some players weren't quite up to speed with the game. We give them a couple of opportunities. I wouldn't necessarily say they made too many opportunities, but we certainly handed some on a play to them. But then we get a free kick for what I can only describe as an old school WWF clothesline
on Mr.
Sanchez on James McCarthy. We play it short, we keep it neat and tidy. Baines pulls back a lovely little ball to Gareth Barry, whips in across to the far post. It's over Lukaku, but there who arriving? Seamus Coleman to put in a fantastic headed goal, and we're 1-0 up.
To twist a knife into those Arsenal hearts who thought they had a chance of getting them in the summer. It was a fantastic free kick, well worked, and a lot of teams would just put that into the danger area and hope for the best. And it was really, really well worked and a great ball in by Gareth Barry and a fantastic header from Coleman coming in round the back. And it got us off to, it settled us down, I think, after that. And I think from that point on, Everton wrestled control of the game of Arsenal. We're saying that Everton didn't start very well. I thought Arsenal started really well, and that was more them, I think, than Everton. I think they like to get on the ball the way we do. They like to keep possession the way we do. They're obviously a few more years into that kind of game than what we are, and I thought they came out and looked quite bright. I don't think they caused us anything untoward in that final third. The only kind of shot they had after about half an hour was the Coleman, miss it after about 10 minutes that went across the box and Oxlade-Chamberlain puts it wide. But from the time that Coleman scored after that, Everton could have got a second not long after Kevin Morales running onto the Naismith flick and should have really done better. He was asking for a foul. It wasn't a foul, but he should have done better. And Everton just kind of grew into the game then and had total control of it. And Arsenal have become very, very agitated. Mr. Wenger was up and down, and I things were going to plan.
And they were getting snidey as well, weren't they? A little bit sneaky, a few little slide kicks.
Dirty Sanchez.
I've seen a few newspapers say that we were the aggressors, we were the direct team, we were certain journalists who have red tinted glasses, and none of the Arsenal persuasion either. Mr. Dunn, if you're watching, you won't be.
Saying we were aggressors.
Saying we were the aggressors, and Arsenal had to rise above it, and it's a massive statement for Arsenal that they could come back from 2-0 down, and we were direct, and this is what you have to put up with, don't you? Whereas our game plan was solid. Our game plan was very much like last season. Go on the break. Arsenal are going to keep the ball. They're going to keep the ball well. They've got good players, but it's not like we didn't try and outplay them. What we did was we tried to use good tactics to get in the game, and those tactics again led on to the second goal. Jagielka clears the ball from the Gladys Street end. It falls to Romelu Lukaku, who turned Mertesacker. Some people thought it was a foul. I thought straight away, Arsene Wenger will moan that's a foul. He runs on, does fantastically well, picks out a nice little ball for Naismith, who made a little nice circular run. He might have been offside. I'm not 100% sure on that one. I'll need all the graphics. And he finishes like Stephen Naismith finishes, clinical. The Iceman, the White Puma, Scottish Messi. All those things.
I was going to say, when you finish with your superlatives.
And that's 2-0 up at half time, and everyone's happy.
Yeah, I mean, the Lukaku spin, which we'll call it now, 50-50, isn't it? Half the time you get them. I think he puts his foot across Mertesacker, and that's why the big friendly German, goes over. But from that moment on, great play, beats Callum Chambers, holds on to it, plays a lovely little round the corner into Naismith, and he slots it. Was he offside? Again, it was a hairline.
We need technology, and until we get technology, we'll never know.
Well, I'll just use the Arsene Wenger thing if I didn't really see it. Like I have to see it again, but it was a great little ball, and it was a lovely finish. Don't think there was any doubt, certainly not in my mind, when he was in that position that he wouldn't score.
The goal doesn't move, kids.
He's fantastic. He is absolutely fantastic. Probably the best finisher at the club. Said that for a while, but he most definitely is. And Everton at that point were commanding at 2-0, having to rise above Arsenal. A few naughty challenges coming from the Arsenal players.
Mr. Wilshere.
I wouldn't call him a player. He's just someone who wears a shirt. He's the most, I'm going to say it now, the most overrated footballer in English football for about 15 years. Get back to smoking the ciggies, garbage. But the second half, obviously, they brought on Giroud, and he looked quite lively. He's one of those players, isn't he? You look at him and he doesn't look bothered half the time, but he's a
physical threat, and we've seen last week how our defenders struggled with the physical threat. Second half, obviously, you mentioned before, you're expecting first 10-15 minutes for Arsenal to come out and really have a go with us. I think they kept the ball well for the first 15 minutes, and we kept them at bay.
They could have scored straight away. As that pulls off. I mean, that really, we should have been looking then and thinking we've got to be on our game here, because he just pulls away. He doesn't have to do much, just jogs into an area. Lovely little ball in here. It's a good volley, and it wasn't too far.
It was one of them where people go, we hit it too well. He probably did hit it too well. If he'd scuffed it, he probably would have found the back of the net. But that was an early warning. And now Roberto Martinez, we all know, he's not one to sit back at 2-0. He wants to go on and on. And I suppose that was the game plan in a way on the break. And the weird time, second half, especially when Lukaku got one-on-one with Mertesacker, but it was just poor decision making in the end, or players not keeping up with the likes of Lukaku or Morales, and we never really got the numbers forward to build on it. We had chances, but again, we were happy with the 2-0 and happy that we could play our way through situations. Coleman had some, he had the ball down the right at times, and Naismith had one where sometimes it's a good finisher, but there are times when he gets a little bit too much time to think about it before it comes to him, and he's hit it over the bar.
The one he blazed though. Yeah. I think at that moment, there was about 15 minutes to go when that happened, and Everton was so much in control. The game was petering out. They had total control. Arsenal were trying to play little 1-2s around the box. It wasn't working, and we had a couple of good breaks. And that Naismith one, as it's pulled back, you're just thinking, just curl that to the far post, just get through it, and he. You can't blame him. He has a good strike on it, and You know, but at that moment, you're just thinking, well, it's 2-0, you know, he's had a shot,
Yeah.
it's an attempt at goal. I don't think we shot enough on Saturday.
No,
I think we had, again, opportunities edge of the penalty area. Morales, particularly first half, could have pulled the trigger a few times. McCarthy had a couple, and we're still going wide a little bit too much for me. I'd like us to pull the trigger, and things happen from that, deflections or saves or whatever. But
let's talk about the 2 goals we conceded before we talk about
we have to.
why we think we conceded them. The first goal, 83 minutes, they've got the ball on the left. Santi Cazorla is allowed to just walk into the box without any real pressure on him. He puts a nice ball across the edge of the box, but edge of the line, but something you'd think our defenders would deal with. Ramsey comes in from the edge of the box, just completely runs into the box. We've got what, 4 players in there who are all looking at the ball and not looking at Ramsey's run. And this is something that's so important in football. He gets the head start on them. He gets in there first, and he's got to tap in between 2 centre backs. Osman's left him. Baines hasn't seen him. Jags and Distan have been looking at the cross, see if they can cut it out. And it's a simple tapping, but it shouldn't be a simple tapping.
No, we shouldn't be allowed to run into our box without a challenge. First and foremost, at that moment in time, we looked out on our feet. We just the build up towards that goal, we couldn't put our foot through the ball. We were trying to clear, and it was going 5 yards and 10 yards instead of it being empty, you know, right down the other end of the pitch, really. And I know it's not really the Martinez way, he likes to play out of danger, but I like me defenders to defend with 10 minutes left, with 2-0 up. They're chasing the game. Just put your foot through it, clear it right down into their corner flag, regroup, start again. There's not more disheartening when you're chasing. You know, you're trying to get back into the game, that the defensive team just keeps putting the foot back through the ball, and you've got to go and retrieve it, start again. Everton didn't do it. Once Cazorla is in that area and puts it across the 6-yard box, one of your defenders, one of your 2 centre-halves has got to cover your near post.
Yeah.
You've got Giroud's there, we've got 2 centre-halves. I think there was Cazorla, there's Giroud, and Ramsey's on the edge of the box. You've only got it, one of you look after Giroud, so the other one go to cover that near post. Neither of them do. The ball goes behind the 2 of them, right across our 6-yard box. Baines and Osman haven't blocked Ramsey's run, which is the next thing you do. You just stand in front of him so he can't go anywhere. And in that split second, it's goal. And I think from that moment, the ball at the net, you just thought, you know, we're going to be struggling to hang on here.
And it only took, what, another 5-6 minutes for them to get the equalising goal. And even worse in many ways, this goal, because we had the ball. Naismith's got a free kick at the other end, just outside the area, and you're thinking, right, why not? Let's have a shot. You know, let's have a dig. If it goes in, we've won the game. If it goes over, it kills some more minutes. Or even sweep the ball onto the other side of the pitch and keep the ball over there. Get Coleman on the right and get the ball over there so he's in the opposite corner. But no, they play very short, very near, where there's a lot of people around. 3 or 4 passes, they kept it really well. And I think it was Osman who played a short ball. It was seized upon. The ball goes right. It's played high into our box, goes wide, and you get the ironic cheers that, you know, they've mishit him. And the next ball in's perfect. And this Giroud putting away a header. Yes, he's got a handful of Sylvain Distan's shirt, but number one, Jagielka can barely raise a jump to get it, and Distance doesn't even get off his feet. And it's 2-2, and where 6 or 7 minutes ago you're thinking we're 2-0 up and we're absolutely cruising to the first 3 points of the season. It's now 2-2, and nearly from the kickoff they nearly went and got a third, and you felt from then on that if anyone did score it would be them. And again, it's such a poor goal to concede.
The set piece was shocking. You know, we talked about before how good the first goal was, Everton's first goal, how good the free kick it was. That one was really, really poor, and it's frustrating at that time. I know you're talking about killing a game and playing it short and keeping possession and all that, but you do want, you know, you're trying to score goals, put them under pressure, either shoot or play a long ball into the box and aim. You know, go for it. You might get a corner, you might get a flick on or whatever. If you're over it, you get set. But you don't give possession away where a lot of your players are committed.
Yeah, because that was
running back.
That was the other thing. He played a free kick into an area where there was a lot of Arsenal and Everton players. So it didn't go anywhere. It didn't give us any advantage. And you just thought, and as you just said, even if you give a goal kick away, you've got your back 4 set, you've got your 5 in front set, and you can deal with it, and everyone's ready. But from that, or even if you get that free kick, if you're going to play it short back to your centre-backs or your full-backs, so you can go, right, we've got the ball again, you chase us, and then we can just hit a corner if we need to be.
I'd always put it in, me. I'd always have a right footer on it, curling it in towards that back post and aiming, hitting it high and opening up one of your defence. Because even if they clear it, you're still giving yourself a chance to back off. When you're putting it into an area where, remember where they played the free kicks, if you play it over to the left where there's only a narrow corridor to play, if you lose it there, they're in the ascendancy, and that's what happened. And, but, that went on. The cross has gone too long, and I actually thought it'd gone out, and that Monreal, who hadn't ran anywhere all afternoon, somehow manages to keep it in, and as he's crossed it, you're just thinking, Jagielka will deal with this, and he misses it. And it's a great header. I mean, let's be honest, it's a great header by Giroud, but he done what Distan didn't do, and that was expected Jagielka to miss it. Distan didn't. What Distan's got to do there, and he'd tell you himself, is he should be touched tight to Giroud, and he should be wrestling him almost, so he can't get a free.
Well, even if he gets a header, and then
you're close. If you're this close and he gets a header, it's a chance that's going to hit you, but he gives him enough room. But it is a wonderful header. It's a good header, right in the corner of the net, and like you say, we then they kick off and they're in our box again within about 10 seconds, and you're thinking, surely not.
We've conceded a couple of late goals there, and there has been this issue. We've mentioned it before. We've been criticised for it for talking about the pre-season, and we spoke about it last week, where players last 15 minutes didn't look sharp and didn't look fit, and it was again the same with this game, wasn't it? Players towards the end, for the first goal, you've got Coleman who doesn't look mentally able to close down Cazorla. When the ball comes over, you've got Jagielka and Distan. Again, are they awake to the danger because they're physically not, mentally and physically they're finished? And then for the goal, the equalising goal, are they sharp enough where Giroud's come off the bench and he's sharp and they've made decent subs? I mean, is that something we should be looking at and thinking, why aren't our players sharper at the later stages of games?
It looks that way, doesn't it? Sitting on the sidelines, it looks that way. Players will tell you that they feel fit, probably. Roberto Martinez did say we ran out of legs towards the end, so he's kind of come out and admitted it, hasn't he? That he felt as though. I don't think anyone who disagrees with the fact that Everton were tired at the end of that game doesn't know what football is, because you could see the energy levels just went. They just went. Players that were running up and down couldn't really walk. James McCarthy looked tired. He never looks tired, but he looked tired because for a lot of the game he was doing his own job and trying to cover where Leon Osman was. Now, Leon Osman for me is probably better as an impact substitute now, or he has to play higher up the pitch. He's no good running the other way, and he was having to do a lot of running against younger, fitter players for a lot of that game, and you just question that substitute.
And we mentioned in the preview video about the fact that Arsenal have had 2 extra games, so their levels of sharpness are a little bit higher, because fitness is something you gain during the season. It's not something you come into the season fully fit. You gain it. Everyone sort of goes up that level together. But they've had a couple of extra games and they looked better for it. But also the other thing that you've got to look at, I think quite pivotal as well, and you just mentioned Leon Osman there, it is the substitutions as well, isn't it? He's had to bring Leon Osman on early, or did he have to bring him on? Because Stephen Pienaar, we were aware last week that he had a knock, so was he right to start him? And was he right to replace him with Leon Osman?
Was he right to start him if the player says he's fit? He had a very, very good, he was excellent at Leicester, wasn't he? So why wouldn't you start him? It's just depending on how fit he was. Only Roberto Martinez and Stephen Pienaar and the medical staff know how much of a gamble it was or it wasn't. How it played out was he only lasted about 12 minutes, I think. We lost Leon Osman in the Arsenal game in April after about 10 minutes with eye injury. So it's one of those things. I think to bring Osman on then, it's difficult, isn't it? You look back now and go, it was a waste of a sub. I'd rather Bessett's come on because he's fast and he can get around the pitch and everything. But Osman came on and Everton got 2-0 up, so I don't think there's probably any issue really with Leon Osman. What I was saying before was running the other way is not the quickest, so you kind of struggle a little bit there. But I don't think Osman was a reason why it went from 2-0 to 2-2. Not at all. I think the last 2 substitutions are the ones where you'd look and go, if there's any kind of criticism there, it's potentially at those 2 changes. Well, obviously Lukaku had to come.
Well, let's talk about those 2 changes. Lukaku, not only looked physically tired, but as Roberto Martinez come out after the game and said he'd had a knock, picked up a knock in the week. Morales as well looked tired as well. It's his first real run out since the World Cup. Now, what was noticeable when those two players went off, was when they were on the pitch, Lukaku was always an outlet, especially against Mertesacker. No matter how tired he was giving him a game. He was really pushing him. He was that outlet. So he goes off, and then Morales goes off, and then, as you've mentioned before, you're not replacing them with like for like as such. We bring on McGeady, who's got quick feet. He's a different kind of player. And Atsu was his first time playing in an Everton shirt, and not the greatest circumstances to come on. But you look at it from a defender's point of view and you think, every time we kick the ball forward now, it's just going to come back. From that point of view, that must be really hard, not only physically, but mentally.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know whether Martinez got caught between thinking we'll get another one on the break here and I'll put these two tricky players on and he might carve something out for Naismith, or whether he should have really just said, right, let's try and just shore this up. It's 2-0, let's go a little bit more negative if you like. And I don't think it's in his nature to try and be negative, but I think maybe either putting John Stones on and pushing Seamus Coleman on 5 yards for when Lukaku come off, or putting Besic on and saying, right, sit in there in that midfield area on the right hand side and just mop things up. We didn't, I'd like Morales to stay on because I think he might have been tired, he might have been able to do anything else, but I always think he offers you something, even if he is tired. He's got a trick, Kevin Morales, and I think when you're a defender looking at him, you're wondering what he's going to do next, and that means you're occupied. I think when Atsu come on and McGeady, neither of them looked in the pace of the game at all. McGeady just gave the ball away a couple of times and didn't seem to have the drive to want to get back in there and do that defensively. I think a couple of defensive choices at that time might have served Everton better. But
last week we were saying, well, why did you bring Coleman on? And
we haven't got a clue really, but just guessing.
No, but the point about it is that sometimes you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't, aren't you? If you brought Stones on, people can just say, well, you're inviting more pressure on. Yeah. So maybe what would have been the ideal situation is Stones comes on as a defender, and maybe you just take a defender off. You freshen things up at the back. I mean, that's always a risk. I know that it's always a risk, but there was that, and a change was needed. But it all comes back again to the levels, the fitness levels.
I don't really want to bang on about that because I think, well, you can, but I'm not. What I'm going to say is that I could understand why he wouldn't take Coleman off and put Stones there.
Oh yeah,
He could. That's by the by. I don't think Everton weren't. I just don't think it needed that, to be honest with you. I think his problem was in front of Coleman. That was that area. I think if you're going to put someone like Atsu on, or Atsu, it's said, I believe, he goes on the left-hand side because I don't think there was any threat really down the right. And I think Baines was a lot sharper than Coleman, it looked like in the game. I think we would have had less of a problem there, but it's someone like Besic to go and sit in there or just keep Morales on, I think might have made a bit of a difference. But the big thing is obviously not having a centre forward, isn't it, to replace Lukaku with. When Rom's injured and has to go off, there's no like for like. You're taking off someone who's big and strong and is running at people to put two players on who aren't going to offer you the same threat. It allowed Arsenal to move forward 5 or 10
So as you just mentioned there, you would have liked to seen Besic come on. So maybe would the different idea would have been to pack that midfield late on and just say, well, you've got to get through our midfield before you can even think about scoring first.
Definitely, you could have just sat everyone 10 yards further back and said, right, okay, you're passing it there, we'll pass it through 9 of us then. Leave Stephen Naismith on the halfway line, pass it through us. They were doing it anyway, so you may as well make it more difficult, putting more bodies in. Besic, okay, he's a bit rash, he might have come diving in and what have you, but he's also a destructive player, so he would have been putting the blocks on. But like I said before, I'm not going to criticise Martinez too much because that was what won us a lot of games last year, that want and to go on and win games, and that's what he wanted to do. He didn't want to shore it up. Well, I mean, no one wants to see the Weir sub, do they?
No. And we spoke about it negatively enough. Let's talk about a couple of positives. I mean, Naismith.
I don't think it was negative though. I think the last 10 minutes was horrible.
I think what we've done is we've pointed out the negatives very, very clearly. So let's point out some of the positives. Naismith, fantastic. That in that position, Martinez got it spot on again with the way he played. Lukaku down the right like last year. Stephen Naismith playing the false number 9, but I think it was more of an actual number 9 this time. He was really playing as a centre forward and giving them something to think about. You know, he was brilliant all day for me. He worked his socks off and took his goal really, really well. And he just gets better and better, and he's got the love of the crowd now. That's really obvious. People really love him. They love the work, the hard work, but also the fact that he plays really intelligent passes. He gets a lot of fouls as well. He makes fouls out of nothing, and he scores good goals. And what else do you want? And you know, we've probably seen this a few times this week, but a lot of fans look at him now and think, you know, he's the nearest thing we've got since Tim Cahill.
I've made the same kind of similarity to Cahill myself. I don't think he's the greatest footballer that is skills wise, but such a clever football brain. He's 100% great in the air, and it's the best finisher of the club.
Helps homeless people and gives free tickets to fans.
What's not to love, and does ice bucket challenge over his wife, almost in slow motion, just making her suffer for
I haven't
longer.
Seen that one.
We'll watch it because it's brilliant. But he's fantastic. What a 12 months he's had. A total turnaround with a lot of people. But playing in his proper position, I think it's always, I think in the past when people have, moaned about him, we've always said, you try to look at a player, so we'll put him in his right position, then judge him. And he's certainly one of those. He's not quick enough to play wide, but very clever and has done a fantastic job for Everton and will be very, very important for us going forward. And he was magnificent at the weekend. I think, the week before we were very good for 45 minutes at Leicester. The second half wasn't so great. I think this week we were very good for 80 minutes. So already you've seen a massive improvement in terms of controlling the game against a much better side than what Leicester City offered us the week before. So I'm looking at Chelsea now thinking by the time we kick off Saturday night, we will be ready and we will be able to complete for 95 minutes. We will be.
It's only took to the third game. But that's another thing to, fitness-wise, hopefully we'll be there or thereabouts for the Chelsea game. Hopefully. Who knows, maybe another player in, who knows. We're looking forward to the end of the transfer window coming up in a week's time. And that's a positive that we've played really well, for the majority of the game. It's just a period the games let us down.
It's just disappointing. And, my dummy was well spat out the pram and out the road and out of Liverpool, at 7:30 on Saturday night, and still felt like a bad hangover even this morning when you just think back to it and you think we had the game shown up, but we just have to go forward from it. Things like this will happen in the season. Okay, it's happened. You don't want to throw leads away against anybody, certainly not against a team you're in direct competition with. However, we'll get 3 points against someone this season that we don't deserve.
And I think Roberto Martinez is the kind of fella who will look at it and go, and if he thinks there's serious problems with Jagielka or this, then he'll go, I'll make those changes. I'll bring Alcaraz in. I'll bring Stones in. I'm not worried about doing those kind of things.
Browning. There's players banging on the door. That's the biggest thing. But we definitely need a couple of bodies to help the squad. We could do with getting Gibson fully fit, Kone fully fit, Oviedo. Oviedo was a massive thing for us last year. Kone, if we could get the fella ready to help us out. Imagine being able to bring him on with 15 minutes left, big and strong, and run of players. So all of these little things will help boost our squad. Ross Barkley, get him back. There's a lot of things to be positive about. There is.
I fully agree.
I think when I looked at it Saturday, and seeing Arsenal's reaction at the end, a few years ago, they'd have been shaking their heads going off that pitch thinking we've thrown 2 points away here. They were hugging and celebrating like they just won the league. Because they know that we're serious and we're the real deal. We just need to make a little bit of fine tuning, which he will get right. And we're good to go. September, October, when we hit our peak form with Falcao, we'll be absolutely loving it.
Good stuff. So my ice bucket challenges, we've both done the ice bucket challenge. Have a look on the YouTube channel. They're there.
Don't forget to donate as well.
Yeah, it's not just about throwing water over each other. We'll be back this week with a couple more videos, probably one on the transfer market, and obviously looking forward to the Chelsea game as well coming up the weekend. Don't forget, get in touch with us, the comments on YouTube, on Twitter as well, at Toffee TV1. Get in touch on Facebook, facebook.com/Toffee TV. The website is
ToffeeTV.net. blogs, new blogs on there, people blogging all the time, the videos get put on there. Go and have a look at it. And, you know, and one thing I'll say, if you don't like it, just don't watch it.
Yeah, just don't watch it.
Simple as.
And a big thank you to the Love Everton Forum. Did I get that right?
It's the one, yeah.
Love Everton Forum. We've got a little page just for us, for our videos, and they've been spreading the word for us. So I want to say a big thank you to them. Get on there, because we don't have a forum or any of that kind of thing. We leave that, we do our debates on Twitter or whatever. Get on there. Fantastic forum. We've got some fantastic debates going
and
on.
Also join our UMax It free app. You can win loads of prizes on it. Join that on. You can download it from the App Store or Android. Join our league. It's just Toffee. The code is Toffee, and it's literally just 5 games every week, and you can win lots of money and shirts and prizes and everything. So join in.
Get involved.
Beat us, because we're rubbish at it.
Get involved. There's money to be won out there. Free money. You can argue with that. Right, we'll be back soon